Hey everybody, I have to stop here. Yiska, do you consider yourself a good dancer? Like, are you?
Not at all.
You very much seem like the guy from Hitch. You've seen Hitch, right?
Yes.
It's an old Will Smith movie where he shows Kevin James how to be kind of a ladies' man, and they talk about the dancing, and I just see you in the back of the club bouncing, just like this.
That's what I do. Yep.
You're
drinking hands.
It's inoffensive.
Looking at other people having fun.
Inoffensive. It's there. No one's gonna go look at that guy for not dancing, but they're also not gonna go like, whoa, that guy's got moves. You just kind of blend in there, and then you use your intellect, wit, and charm to kind of compensate for that. And drink,
yes.
And alcohol. Yeah, that helps too. That helps too. Hey everybody, welcome to episode 165 of Tactical Crouch. It's
What an intro.
It's an interesting one today. KickedTripod here with Yiska and Volamel. We got a little bit of a new look. If you're watching us on YouTube, we had a new look last week. I didn't like it. Did it again this week. It might be new next week. Who knows? But
what's the topographical map in the background? Like who goes like hiking? Yeah. That looks like it's a lot of effort.
I don't think it represents a real place. It's actually all the wrinkles in your brain. That's what it is.
It feels more like the wrinkles under my eyes, but yeah.
No, those are bags. Bags under
getting
your eyes.
worse every day. Getting worse every day.
Wrinkles in your brain. But yeah, we got a little bit of a new look if you're on looking at us on YouTube, and we might have a new podcast look as well for those listening to us on RSS. By the way, you can get this podcast in video on YouTube, but you also can get it for totally free on just about any podcast outlet, Spotify, iTunes. Do you know that almost 30% of our listeners are now listening through Spotify?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a big number.
Crazy.
I hate listening to podcasts on Spotify. I'll never do it. I'm Overcast all the way. Overcast on Apple devices is so good. But I won't listen to podcasts on Spotify. I don't like it.
Any particular reason, or just not an app that you frequent?
I don't like to mix the arts like that. You know, like that's my music. That's my music app. That's not my talking app.
He's not trying to cross the beams.
It's like I won't even have my podcasts and audiobooks in the same app, let alone music.
Really? I only listen to podcasts on Spotify. It's actually so bad that when the podcast I regularly listen to moved off the platform, I stopped listening to it. Couldn't be asked.
Isn't it weird how
such convenience?
How consumers consume?
Yeah.
We're so fickle.
It wasn't anything like particularly like that really like I felt like was adding a lot, but yeah, it's just like, you know, when you scroll through whatever, because I'm someone like I flip between moods, especially on long walks. Yeah. Sometimes I want like music, and then sometimes I want podcasts, and sometimes I want audiobooks, and that's the only thing I will switch for. Like I'll go to Audible for audiobooks, and stay on Spotify for the rest.
If Spotify had audiobooks, would you ditch Audible?
Probably not, because like I've spent a lot of money on Audible so far. Like true. I've kept that subscription running for like 4 years, 5 years.
Credits, and I'm like, I need to cancel my sub, but they're like, you need to buy books, otherwise you're gonna lose your gonna lose your thing. But I don't know what books I want.
Yep.
And I don't really listen to. I used to listen to audiobooks all the time when I would do like late night, go to the gym, or when I drove and I actually had a commute. But now that I don't, I have no reason to listen to a book.
Yeah.
Zero. I read them, or I watch West Wing on HBO Max. That's all I do. Have you seen West Wing, Yiska? The
No.
West Wing? Oh. Oh, you'd love it. Aaron Sorkin at its best. Political drama. Oh, you'd love it. I promise. Anyways, this is not a TV podcast. By the way, hey, speaking of TV, when are we doing anime and what is it going to be and when and how?
The people have spoken. I do have an update for all the weebs. Speaking of political drama, Attack on Titan ending very shortly. So for anybody who trying to catch up on that manga, you have until April. The weebs have spoken, and we will be watching Violet Evergarden.
Oh, nice.
Did win the vote. And yeah, so we'll be watching that. I think 1 to 4 probably good. I think we can probably still try to set up the same kind of format that we tried to do last week, but I guess it could just kind of comes down to when everybody's free. So I guess be posted on that. I'll post it up in the Discord when we kind of settle on a day, and if we are going to do like an episode 5 watch along, something like that. But yeah, the title is out. It is Violet Evergarden. That's what we're going to be watching, and yeah, we'll be talking.
When
about
are we going
that.
to do a game night? Can we do a game night on Friday?
This Friday, I gotta check. I'm not 100% on that. But next week I'm off at work, so that should be possible then.
Okay, I just want to do a game night. I could just use some Jackbox games.
True.
That'd be really fun. Or the new Among Us game with proximity chat. Ooh, it adds a whole new dynamic. We played Among Us this last Saturday without proximity chat because proximity chat was down. It's not a good game. It's just not a good game. It was 0% fun.
I like to play. I would like to play Among Us with the Jester.
It's Joker. So we play with. There's Joker, Engineer, Sheriff, and Medic. We turn all the mods on now.
Yes.
And it is just chaos. Have you played with those other roles?
I don't even know what they do, but now it sounds like Town of Salem.
So so Engineer can fix one disaster per round anywhere they are on the map. So someone turns off lights or hits seismic or whatever, one time per the entire game, like that whole
you just get one go.
One go, you can use that. They also can go through vents.
Oh,
what?
So they can also use vents. So Engineer is insane. Then you have the Medic. The Medic can shield one person, which saves them from getting murdered.
Is it just permanently?
Yeah.
And it persists through rounds.
Okay.
And then if they find a dead body, depending on how warm the dead body is, you get a clue about who killed that body.
What?
So it'll say like it's a dark color or a light color or it's blue or I believe if you get it within 5 seconds, it just says who it was. Which is kind of insane. Then you have the Sheriff, which basically lets you kill somebody every round. Yeah. And if it's an imposter, they die. If it's not an imposter, you die.
Right.
And that doesn't work with the shield. So if someone shields the imposter, it's like it gets really insane. And then you have the Jester who's on their own team. Trying to get voted off, and that's the only way they win is by getting voted off.
Wait, do imposters also have specific roles?
No, imposter doesn't change. So by the end of it, 5 of the 8 people, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the 8 people have 5 or 6 of the 8 people have specific roles, and then you have to try to figure out who's trying to get voted off. Is the person who's venting really an engineer?
Right.
All this kind of crazy stuff. It's a ton.
You have people claiming roles they aren't. It feels very like subversive.
Yeah, I remember like when we did Town of Salem, like you would have to write your little journal, and I would have to have like a little, like pen and paper to just like keep track of the bullshit I was talking about. Like, it gets very complex at that point, I think.
Yeah, and so like again, I still think the game is at its best when it's just a bunch of friends trying to like lie and yell and make good content. But it's. Oops, sorry.
Yeah, no, that sounds fun.
I'm trying to look at the Florida Mayhem announcement for
For that what?
For their spring classic.
Sweet content.
Is that when?
That is
this week?
March 20th. Yeah.
Coming up quick.
What a segue, by the way.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense how they advertised it, because they went from like, oh yeah, snow was changing, and it's like, there's not that much time left in winter, and then they're like, oh, a little flower, spring. Like, I'm not sure, like, now it makes sense that they sort of were in the middle. I thought they were just like, oh, god damn it, we scheduled an event that isn't actually in winter, but it's actually in spring. We got it wrong. But it's on the edge. I guess it's forgiven.
You see the little wick on the mayhem bomb's a flower. It's cute.
It's not a flower. Wait,
now
in that graphic.
Yeah, it's in the graphic. Yeah.
Okay, makes sense.
Again,
they really busted out the graphic design budget for that one. You won't see anything else from them for the rest of the year.
They are spent.
I'm just kidding. I think it's great.
I think teams are really stepping up when it comes to this preseason content. I'm loving it. It's a great job. I'm excited to see who's actually playing though. I don't know that.
Yeah, I was gonna say we don't know who's playing in it yet, so might be a bunch of bad teams. Might just be defiant internal scrims. And it gets zero viewers.
Here we go.
0 views.
Defiant slander.
Hey, I'm coming around to the Paris Eternal. They kind of surprised me a little bit. I don't know exactly how competitive they're going to be this season, but like they've got some pieces.
How did they do good in the show match?
Yes, the Angry Titans is the best goat team in the world.
It's true.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Yurik's in chat, definitely, I think it's Khan on the Baptiste. And it's got a point. Just saying. Look into it. That's all I'm saying. Just look into it.
Wow. Here's the thing, is Paris has the best merch.
Do they?
Mm-hmm.
Do they have
their
merch?
jerseys are the best. They have the inside has the patterned fleur-de-lis logo on their red inside. It's really good. It's really
okay.
sick. They do.
You guys really have bad opinions, just like within 30 seconds of one another.
So here's the thing. I when it comes to this type of stuff, I'm not gonna take any sort of
he's not gonna take your
style or marketing device from a man in a unlayered blue high collar sweatshirt. Okay.
I got this from my uncle. I don't care about whatever I'm wearing. It's warm in the winter.
I'm just saying, like, that doesn't really help validate your opinion.
To be fair. I mean, you just advertised a burlap sack, but okay. Wait, your mouse mat is the topographical. Did you take a picture of this as our background? Is that what?
I liked topographs.
Leave them alone, okay? Yeah. Are you trying to attack my mans right now?
They're so in right now.
I'll trust John in saying this. They are so in. He's correct.
Yeah.
Mr. Sack.
Sure.
Is that our new Lord bet? Who has to wear a burlap sack on the next episode? Because I feel like I could go chew into a Lord bet.
We have to have one, but I still have burlap sacks in my basement because, like, I bet Sideshow
That's true.
that
I mean,
London was sandbagging.
Big enough, though. Like,
I mean, I can sew them together, whatever.
No,
you can't sew.
No, I can. No, I actually can.
Okay.
You guys want to talk about some really bad marketing?
What's that?
Overwatch Contenders has decided that in Korea they don't want AVRL casting their content. That's bad marketing right there.
That's not a good look. Don't know what that says a lot from the people in charge when it comes to Path to Pro, that you don't want one of your best talents. Says a lot.
Like, at this point, like, I was really surprised, like, tuning into his personal, like what's it called, companion stream. That was hella entertaining. In my mind, okay, it is like a gamble. I would try that for like, if you don't have anything else, so to speak. I would try that if I was AVRL. Like, I think he made a great precedent with the Nexus Cup stuff. I think he had 1,000 viewers as well. That's probably a sustainable number to live on. And then grow from there, right? Like, maybe that's the better alternative. Don't know.
I mean, it's something he's definitely in control of, right? Yeah, he just heart breaks for him. Like, he's put in so much time. I can't imagine. I won't, try to empathize too much in terms of like the work that he's done. I can only just assume, talking to him briefly every once in a while, the effort that he's put into that region, and then to see him not kind of be given a fair, shake at it. It's a loss that we really don't need to have. And yeah, it's just unfortunate. It's not a good look. Not a good look in the slightest.
Personalities and talent drive the Overwatch esports ecosystem, and they every time we get a blow like this, it just sucks. Not that the other people who are taking over in Korea aren't talented as well, but
sure,
I don't think that there is any singular free agent color caster in the Overwatch scene right now that I would place above AVRL. That's not already an Overwatch league. He's the top of the crop for sure. And
yeah.
So that's just a huge, and not only that,
actually,
like,
never mind Contenders, dude. Like, it's time for AVRL for AVRL.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is, I personally thought when I saw the announcement for Contenders, I personally thought that we were gonna get some kind of like eyeball emoji tweet from AVRL,
right,
about it. That was the only thing that made sense, and turns out the opposite is happening, and he's going, back to APAC, and that's just dumb. I'm sorry, it's just dumb. I don't get it. Nothing against the region, but you want your best casters in the regions that have the most viewership. Period.
Yep. I hope he finds his space in Valorant. I've been getting into Korean Valorant. I wouldn't say heavily, but definitely been trying to follow the region more and more, and I'd love to hear him on that desk. I think he brings another dose of insight. I genuinely think he could probably do no wrong in whatever he does. If he wants to be a streamer, he can go do that, and he'll probably kill it. He definitely helps me to think about the game differently when I tune in and watch him. Watch games definitely brings up things that I wasn't even considering. Obviously, he's done the same in Overwatch for what feels like millennia now. He deserves the world, and it's sad that a game that he spent so much time in hasn't given him that same kind of mutual feeling, I guess.
So Uber did take to Twitter to really strongly admonish. Is that the right word? Admonish?
Yeah.
Anyways,
I think the feeling comes across.
But he said a lot about it.
Yeah.
And I think I can get the feed up here. Yeah, I can. So a few things going out there. I want to go. So he goes, honestly, this guy has more grace in his little finger than I do in my whole body. Bloke loses the casting of a region that he works so hard on doing to be severely undercut. This is not mere speculation. And then humbly expresses his regret and moves on. Gutted for you. Oh, and Kevin's rate isn't remotely exorbitant. It's entirely fair. His knees just got effing macheted out from under him. In fact, his rate is well below the industry standard. He's basically charging what someone with half of his level of experience or skill should charge. His undercut was by 66%. This isn't the work of an individual caster. This is the work of an organization with in-house talent. They're deciding what their casters will be paid. It's not even their caster's fault, which makes this orders of magnitude worse. You know who you are. We can all drag this out into the ugly open, or you can sort out your affairs. I know you know that you can do a lot better, and I trust that now you'll see exactly how you might do so. Don't approach me privately. I'm not the person you need to talk to. And then later he comes up and says, where is it? Ever just wake up wondering why Elo Hell Esports are paying their casters 1/5 of the standard rate to do Korea, China Contenders? I think I can say this. Cucking AVRL out of a gig he should be a shoo-in for, and why Path to Pro are completely cool with this. Oh, me? Just me? Cool. Just another day of me waiting for you to fix your shit, I guess. Yeah.
I think he killed it.
Okay, let's contextualize this a little bit, right?
Sure.
Undercutting to a degree is reasonable in the sense that if you have less experienced talent, they undercutting to a certain percentage makes sense because you're giving a worse product. And then the league that hires you has to consider what they're losing by hiring worse talent with less draw and whatnot. At that point, it's an economic decision. 1/5 is not in that range of possibility. You are misreading the market. I don't even understand how it's self-serving for you. That's just bad business.
It's not only bad business, it feels not malicious, but it's just overly aggressive to confirm yourself as the partner, right? That's too aggressive. That does nobody any good in the long term. That only does you justice for right now, but it doesn't help anybody that comes after you. It only sets a precedent that Blizzard, again, Blizzard Activision, to be fair, is willing to pay that low of a rate. So moving forward, does that continue? Yeah.
Let's get uncomfortable for a second. Let's take it from the different perspectives, and let's start with Activision Blizzard first. They have a business obligation to shareholders to spend the least amount of money and make the most amount of money as possible. Can we all agree? Just as a fundamental business standpoint. I'm not defending this at all. So it's not surprising to me at all that Blizzard has decided to go with a cheaper option that they feel is good enough. Which is not something that Blizzard, you would say about Blizzard 4 years ago or 5 years ago. Blizzard was never the good enough company. And again, this is nothing against the individual casters. There are phenomenal people in Elo Hell who work their asses off. And I don't want to make it sound like I'm targeting any specific caster or producer or observer about this.
It's not their fault. They didn't do anything.
It's nothing against you personally at all. In fact, I think that you've been shoved into a corner, and I have opinions about that, which we'll talk about later on. So Blizzard is, for the most part, going to do what they need to do and spend what they want to spend. But, it already tells us that their plan for viewership and growth for Tier 2 Overwatch this year is quite low. Their plan to invest into that, their plan to support that, their plan to keep that ecosystem there is low. And again, we argued about this last week or 2 weeks ago, where we talked about the holdover year and the awkwardness of how do you wisely spend money this year when you have a whole new game and a whole new reboot next year. And I think that if it wasn't a multi-billion-dollar company, I would empathize with having to make those choices of, hey, we just couldn't invest into contenders as much as we wanted to this year. But when I hear Bobby Kotick go up there talking about the most profitable year of all time and everything is up, while people are getting chopped and rates are getting cut off at the knees, it really pisses me off. Anyways. So that's...
Yeah. Sorry.
Go ahead.
But the Wow, I lost my train of thought now. I interrupted you rudely. Where was I with this? Oh yeah, here's how you can argue that this is not even in their interest. Because yes, even if this is a holdover year, right? This is also a year where you absolutely are threatened to lose some of your best talent and best up-and-coming talent by a new emerging esports scene that has plenty of crossover, has demonstrated that it can take talent from you. And if you're not like giving them a chance to stay in your system, they're gone. They're just gone. Like if you're not shelling out for people, for top talent, they will be in Valorant. Now, of course, Valorant itself has its issues in terms of caster payments by itself, which really helps the situation that Blizzard is apparently under. Maybe those go hand in hand as well, that Blizzard can afford this. I will also say there's potentially a situation where like maybe the disconnect happens because like someone like AVRL or whatever, or his agency raises rates and the others rent against the old market value of whatever AVRL asked for or whatever. Like 1/5 is ridiculous. There are circumstances where that becomes less ridiculous depending on like what changed, right? But at the same time, like you gotta keep people like this in your system. Like that's your that's the maintenance of your scene. If you want to start into the new revitalizing expansion, you just gotta give yourself a chance, dude. Like, come on. And you like, without being like a dick about it, but like, I'm not aware of anyone with that level of talent and that level of experience coming up below that tier that AVRL's casting at. I don't understand. I really don't.
Yep. It's not the more on the surface. It's a travesty that such a talented individual isn't, given the opportunity they kind of rightly deserve. And then when you really kind of look under the hood of it, it says a lot. This returns to the path to pro lack of vision. This returns to the kind of systemic problem that Contender seems to have. And I think chat is getting at it. I think we're dancing around a subject that Contenders is definitely tied to, with how do we get Overwatch to be kind of not sustainable, it's kind of nebulous, but like in a place where we can attract fans and viewers and really have that healthy ecosystem. I can tell you how you don't do it. And you don't do it by capping one of your most talented casters in the knees. You don't do it by hemorrhaging talent, both players and other individuals. That's how you don't do it.
I'm not gonna lie. My gut feeling when this thing came up was also like, this is really weird that market forces here work differently. And that like even the hardest like capitalist dude bros that usually will spout this will demand like the prices to be artificially kept high without any competition there. But this is a completely different scene where that functionality just doesn't work to that degree. It just doesn't. It's not like something where underbidding makes a lot of sense. You're measuring in the opportunity costs that you have down the line. You're measuring in what actually is brought to the relative product. I would say like currently AVRL, in terms of like how his career is developing, like with the co-streams and whatever, I can totally see this being blown up. And if you sign him on this contract right now, that might even be a steal for you comparatively to what he might be asking if he keeps the co-streaming up. And then you're not going to get him at all anymore. There's a really solid chance that that's happening. You already lost a couple of guys like that, like an Avast, to like I'm
just saw him doing.
Let me not speculate why Avast chose whatever he did, but like,
sure,
I'm sure there's a number that Avast had in mind that could have had enticed him, right?
Sure.
So yeah, it is a really weird scenario where I think just coming at it with conventional stuff, how this works in a free market economy, just does not work, because the tools of evaluation are not the same. You cannot, like, there is no hard science behind knowing what the specific person brings or will bring to your product if they are kept in your market system. The butterfly effects or whatever you're doing there, you gotta have trust that these people will like attract the best possible product that you're making. And the impact of that, like, high quality people attract high quality workers, will attract further talent with you along the line. The time zones there are aligned, like, that's why, like, you have casters that are casting in that time zone, therefore never really being like threatened to have overt like fatigue because of like screwed up sleep schedules where they have to wake up in the middle of the night. Like, all of that favors into the case for AVRL here, and he took it graciously for sure, right?
He did.
And it's also like, we know that this is not easy. Like, it's not like he's swimming in it and like it just goes like, I'm a get, like, maybe I have to sell that Ferrari and I'll be fine. Like, that's not the situation that these people are in. Of course, like, there's only so much that a publicly traded company should consider there. Well, how about that? Consider whatever the public fallout from that is. Now, of course, this also requires for the public to put the money where their mouth is, and just not turn in comparatively. It's just how it is.
So, can I do a little tier 3, tier 2 Overwatch production esports lesson for a second, or history lesson?
Do it.
Broadcast GG. Broadcast GG was largely obliterated by Elo Hell. Elo Hell was backed by Jane. He used money that he had gotten from his other content to start floating it and to pay the people that they brought on something. Not a day rate, not an amazing day rate by any means, not a market rate, but something, which Broadcast GG was the other side. It was like, hey, we're a bunch of volunteers trying to learn the skills and put you in a position to where you can make money. And Blizzard denied a lot of Broadcast GG's contracts because they were trying to get good market rates for and not exorbitant, not like trying to get AVRL rates for things, but something that you would, get in a, I don't know, $25 an hour freelance job, something that would at least pay the bills, something that would be worth your time. And right. They would take their top casters and they would put them in a position to make that. And in comes Elo Hell, undercuts, utilizes some of the, I have to be really careful here. Undercuts, uses some of the influence that the founder of Elo Hell had, and this is putting a little bit of 2 and 2 together. This hasn't been said outright, but and then funding those paychecks also from elsewhere. So it essentially allowed them to pay. It allowed them to pay their all the members there something. And as far as I understand it, while charging Blizzard less than if like Broadcast GG had done it,
or just any kind of relatively close to industry standard.
Yeah.
And it's also worth saying, my understanding is that Jane is not at all involved in the day-to-day of that company anymore.
Not anymore. Not anymore. This was when he was. This was right after he founded it. But yes, people quickly pointed out the conflict of interest of an Overwatch coach getting contracts from Tier 2 Overwatch. And that was quickly split up and gone. But now we're at a point where Elo Hell is in a position where Broadcast GG is largely, as far as I've seen, no more. They don't really get any of the Tier 3 contracts. The best people from Broadcast GG went over to Elo Hell. It's really difficult to blame them for wanting to get a paycheck for their work.
Sure.
And we're at a point, and I called this out when the Elo Hell Broadcast GG thing happened on this show. I called this out and said, in the long term, this is going to hurt Tier 2 and Tier 3 Overwatch. Because there's the business goals of Elo Hell is not to give casters a living wage, to live in an ecosystem of professionals who are also making working and living wages for their work and market rates. There's a lot of people who are hungry to make just anything, and they decide that they're going to just completely plummet and anchor the market. And this is where I get really pissed off, and I can't really talk too much or I'm going to get myself in trouble.
Right.
But this has really come to hurt the Overwatch Tier 2 and Tier 3 scene while providing very minimal end quality to the products or money in the pockets of the people who are actually doing the work. And that is where, and on the show, I've been, I think, pretty anti-Elo Hell. I have a lot of friends who have gone, through Elo Hell and used that to leverage into other esports at Tier 1 and Tier 2. Willow was able to go from Broadcast GG to Elo Hell to Overwatch League. I think that there are definitely, case studies of where it's brought people forward, but I think that there's a lot less people learning and training to be casters and analysts and hosts and producers and observers. I think that the quality overall, because of that, has gone down, and I think that Elo Hell had a big role to play in that. And I've told the people involved with Elo Hell about that. I chose to stay with Broadcast GG as long as I can, to help the marketing and the social media side and the people who were on that team, who were trying to learn and grow, and all of whom ended up handling Overwatch League marketing and social media accounts. So it's just a little disgusting to me, and I'm trying not to rip my shirt off because I want to make sure that we don't get any unnecessary flags. B, I'm still
trying to end up
trimming
on the
down still trying to swell up for beach season, and C, it's not going to be a good look. So,
right. What I will say is about this is, I think at the time, if I'm being honest, there was reason to believe that Elo Hell could do a better job than Broadcast GG did. Because at the time, I think a lot of people felt that Jane had understood something about Overwatch content creation that others didn't. And to be able to bring that to an entire team and cross-pollinate there and make it exciting and increase the viewership that way, that could have been a possibility. I will also say the rate at which we are developing talent decreasing also makes sense in a dying scene in terms of the Tier 2 and Tier 3 scene, just because of the eyes on it and the opportunities. There are new other games out where people can do that. I still feel I've not been tapped into that scene in a long time. It just feels really quiet around that company, possibly because they lost the X factor in Jane's input there. But I don't feel anything groundbreaking ever emerging and hitting my desk, which doesn't have to mean that they're doing a bad job. It's just, I don't know if that is the better solution towards that. And it feels like a one size fits all solution that just serves. I think they serve in other Contenders broadcasts as well. Just makes it easier. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't want to talk too ignorantly about that topic because you guys were more involved in that. But I think towards like the recent developments, some of that is also down to environmental factors. I think just of the scene slowly but surely, losing viewership.
It's not a good look.
And it is, and it's a little bit of a perfect storm, right? You have people who are willing to undercut significantly the market rates. You have a company that is trying to keep a ship afloat until Overwatch 2 while decrease spending, and they're also in a professional environment where they there's a new kind of concept of just reducing costs as much as possible. You have individual casters and casters and color commentators and hosts and observers and producers who, because of the previous two issues, are having problems getting any sort of work and any sort of practice. So they're also willing to take less money. So you have an entire market willing to take less money. And you have a company that seems to have made it one of their key goals that for non-tier 1 priorities, they're willing to spend less money and put out a less polished product, a less professional product, and just like a worse, I'm just going to say it, a worse product overall. They're willing to do it because they feel like they're below their limit to exposure in any bad way, which is a big part of why we're talking about it on the podcast, because we think it's bullshit.
Frankly.
So
on multiple levels.
It's a challenging environment, and it's very every single person has their own self-interest into making this a worse situation overall. Yep. Casters would rather get paid something rather than nothing and not practice or not cast. Companies would rather get some sort of money and some sort of contract than not have the contract at all. And they have people working for them who are also willing to take less money. You have a company who's trying to minimize costs. That's how we got here. And it takes one of those three one of those three parties to say this isn't right in order to change that. And we don't have that necessarily. And AVRL did that. AVRL was the one person who said, this is my rate. This is what I'm
sticking to.
Yeah. And he could have. Yeah.
He could have accepted less, I'm sure.
I would by his principles, yeah.
But he's a professional, and he even handled his tweet professionally so that we could get angry on the podcast about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he did a great job in preserving that, and I hope to God for Blizzard that they find the way to get him involved, because people are not happy.
Nope.
About it. If I was Blizzard right now, what I would do is I would go back to Elo Hell and say, we're paying AVRL his day rate. He's going to come on and he's going to be a lead caster for you. That's what I would do right now today. That's how you correct the situation as best as you can.
Yep. I don't believe, and it sucks to say this and actually believe it, I really don't know who to even point towards as the person of contact to be able to make that decision.
Yeah.
Not to say to hound them and demand, an action be taken on this, but I don't even know who that might be. Everybody's left.
It's also the one important point is also ZP framed it as you don't want to be the guy that destroys the paradise in order to get to paradise. I like the metaphor of if you're playing the lottery, right? Which is to become a caster. It's really unlikely that you're going to.
It's tough.
But at least play the correct numbers that if you win, you get the most payout, right? And it is also in your own self-interest to not lowball you, because that's the basis all your future negotiations will work from. And by devaluing the scene, this will trickle out down to everyone else.
Yep.
Even if you are a selfish dickhead, like, you must see that this hurts you as well. Unless you're really like sure that you couldn't do it by the merits of your talent, in which case, get out. Like, you must understand you're hurting yourself as well.
I mean, first of all, a lot of these people are young kids. You know, they're 18 to 22 years old. They don't get that at all. Think of everything that you would be, and Yiska, you might be an anomaly because you're, I think, a little bit of a scholarly academic, but imagine your first job of something that you really love. And think of how much more you're willing to do, how much less money you're willing to take, how much further you're willing to go to defend whatever it is. It's not, it's like, even if you kind of see it, it's really difficult to still not do that because A, you love it. A lot of casters just love doing it. They, you know, it's a dream, right? To be able to do what you love as work. And casting is one of those things, not that the work isn't hard, not that the hours aren't long, but there's a lot of hard and long things that are worth, sorry, I knew as soon as I said that it would totally derail.
Welcome to the club, sir.
Yeah. But there's a lot of things that we do. Like my job, I love my job. I shouldn't spend more than 40 hours a week. I shouldn't be taking like a pay cut to do that job while you know we put our first products to market. There's a lot of reasons why I shouldn't do that, but
there's a big word there that
it's my.
That
I mean, there's a fine that or not. No, it's not. It's actually not that hard to figure out. But there's a line between like selling yourself mildly short and heavily, right?
Oh yeah,
it's
like you
totally
work
different, right? Like yeah, you're totally right. It's not like I'm you know taking home $5 an hour and you know like a 3-hour-old McDonald's bag of 20-piece chicken nuggets. Like that's not the situation I'm in. And these numbers are significantly lower.
Yeah, what did Uber quote? Like 66%? Like a fifth?
6%.
Or 1/5, yeah.
Yeah.
That's not like a competitive undercutting. That is an aggressive kneecapping of a market cost. I
want full-time casters. I don't want someone that has to work another job where they can't grind the game and do their research outside the day rate. I'm not sure if the plebs would realize the difference, in which case, like, have higher stands for yourself. Like, come on. But
what if they just listen to mute lane? Come on. Don't blame the mutes.
I mean, yeah, that's the loop, right? Like if you're like, I think the vast majority of people listen to casters.
Yeah.
And then like the lower half would not necessarily understand the difference for a color. I think play-by-play, everyone has an intuitive feel for.
Sure.
But yeah, like at the top end, if you're being honest, like not a lot of people at the top end listen to casters necessarily.
Good question comes up.
Yeah.
Why not unionize? If you make $0 casting, how much dues are you willing to pay to a union to have someone negotiate your spot at the table when you make next to nothing?
I also would wager Blizzard would be very interested in working with people who are not in that union. They've proven it to what John said earlier. They're proving it now. And again, make it very clear. I will reiterate and copy and paste Uber's kind of thread chain because I think it perfectly attacks what I think should be attacked. I'd go a little bit harder on Blizzard myself, or at least personally, as I am now, but it's not the caster's fault. There is a group of individuals that have made has decision-making power that have, decided that this is going to be a thing, and they're at fault. And I think Blizzard kind of shares in that responsibility. I don't think it's any individual person working for Elo Hell or you know, affiliated with them, it comes at the top. It feels like it really isn't the casters or the analysts or the observers, like Yiska said earlier. They have no say in this, right? Like, it's not them.
That being said, so I see this argument. I totally agree with what you're saying, and I want to frame it kind of similarly. And I see this conversation a lot of like, they're a business. What incentive do they have, or repercussions do they face by, you know, finding the cheapest butt? This past week, I was working with a contractor for some merch for the company that we're looking to that we're launching, and we have a lot of questions. We've never launched merch before, so we have a lot of questions. You know, sure. Do we embroider? Do we screen print? How does that feel for the quality? What different things can they use? And he goes, you know what? Tell you what, like, I believe a whole lot in what you guys are doing, and I want you to have this merch be awesome. So I'm going to just make you a bunch of samples at no cost to you so that you can feel them all in the different things. As a business, it is in my best, it is like my best bottom dollar decision right there to go, thank you so much. That's so, you know, very kind and generous to you. And we really appreciate it. You're awesome. That's not how the conversation went. I go, hey, we'll just call this guy Stu. Stu, I appreciate it. That's really kind of you. We're in a position where we can pay you to do this. Like, let us pay you to do this, but this still sounds like the best way to go. We're in a position where we can pay you what you deserve to be paid for the work you're going to do. That's it. It's not a difficult conversation. It's not this ethereal thing that there's always a person behind the conversation. Blizzard as a company is represented by individual people who at any moment can have that conversation and can say, you know what? This isn't right here. Or, you know what? You'd still be happy if we took you up on it. I like working with people whose projects I work with, and I'm tempted to. My roommate in college had a screensaver that says, work for full price or for free, but never for cheap. And I've kind of always felt the same way, but I've taken out the free part. I just say, work for full price, never for cheap. Like, that's just the way it works. If that's how much it's worth, that's how much it's worth. If that's how much it costs, that's how much it costs. And again, I think it's a negative thing when companies, especially something like this, where we're talking about, you know, a total of, you know, a couple thousand to, you know, maybe $10,000 to $15,000 that Blizzard would have lost, to go with the best and to pay the market rate. I mean, honestly, if we take everybody's WoW subscriptions in chat right now over a year, like, that would pay double it, honestly. And so, yeah, there's, of course we paid for samples, like, for them to actually put together. Sorry, someone asked in chat, said you paid for samples, and like, they're for us to keep. They're doing custom work on it, and they're taking time out of someone's day to do it. Of course we're paying for samples.
Should be paid.
Unless we signed a contract or something like that, which I think would be a little bit different. So anyways, this is a pretty inconsequential amount of money when it comes down to when it comes down to this as well. And there's no way, like, we were talking about a singular tweet. If I wanted to go pay Tim the Tatman right now to send a tweet about Overwatch League, I would probably have to pay about $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 to get a single tweet.
It's crazy.
And Overwatch League will do that. They'll do that, and it'll bring them next to nothing. There's very little advantage for them to do that, but they're going to do it because they have this huge marketing budget. Just pay your casters. Just pay your casters. Pay your talent. Pay your people. God.
Or fight for them to get paid. You're not doing them any justice. You're not doing yourself justice. Again, like, I feel like it's just kind of coming full circle, but it at the heart of it is passion. And it's kind of I think ZP kind of aptly said it just now. There's a link in chat to one of his tweets.
He went in.
It's a constant. It's something that esports has dealt with. I feels like forever. Even just coming from as a fan to writing nonsense articles about whatever. Like esports has a passion problem, and there's too many people readily available to abuse it.
Yep.
It's just it's sad that it's the way of the world. I guess it doesn't have to be, but there are too many people in positions of power that consistently do so, and people want to work. People want to. I don't blame them. I don't blame the workers in this at all, because this is what they want to do. This is what they are passionate about. This is what their dreams are, like John said. I don't blame them in the slightest. They want to have a space. They want to make their mark and be on that stage one day. And they're willing to do things that maybe they wouldn't normally do elsewhere, because this is a little underground still. But I don't blame them in the slightest, and I don't think it's their fault. Yeah, it's just a shitty situation all around. They've been put in a shitty situation. Blizzard is absent. Milk and cigarettes as usual. Just it's a continuous trend. I really don't know when this stops. Even from what you were saying earlier, John, I don't know. Like when is the buck going to stop? When is the payments? When is tier 2 actually going to get the investment it rightly deserves? When is somebody going to step in with a vision to kind of correct the wrongdoings that or the lack of action that has happened in the past? It's tiresome. I can't empathize enough with the people actually having to deal with this. I'm sure it's exhausting. It sounds exhausting. It's just fucked. I don't know. It's difficult to wrap your head around entirely, because every time you dive into it, every time you open the hood, it's just another problem with the engine.
Yeah.
And I just want to say again, let's make sure that we reiterate, because we're relatively close with a lot of casters and observers and producers and hosts in
100%.
the thing. And I can honestly say I've never met a single producer, caster, observer, analyst who wasn't trying to make the right decision.
Yeah.
There's definitely not. This is not, in my opinion, even a talent problem.
No, God, no.
And imagine like, I mean, you guys are writers, you guys are journalists, what exploitation can come from that when you're trying to, battle and write pieces for words and clicks and ad dollars and whatever. And it's a really challenging environment to do the right thing for yourself, respect yourself, and also put food on your table. And there's it's casting's the same, and at the end of the day, some work is better than no work. Underpaid is better than no paid. And
again, I can't blame them. I can't blame the workers. I can't.
No, yeah. It's not their fault. No. And it's why it's so important for people like ZP and Uber, who have platforms and security, to speak up on behalf of their their marketplace, their profession. Because if they don't, no one will. The numbers will continue to be driven down. And honestly, ZP and Uber might make more by saying less. They might. They could. There's a very real situation in which they could make more by saying less. I'm
sure Blizzard's not happy about them speaking up. Let's put it that way.
For the same things, when it comes to social media and marketing and stuff, I could pay less. I could make more. by saying less on my own channels, but that's, again, it's the long game here, and I'm in a position where I can say, like, this isn't right, this isn't good for the long term. I can take the hit for the better of the community and the industry, but unfortunately only rich people get to say that. Basically only rich people get to be in that position most of the time. People who are, and again, it's actually not rich people, it's people who have stable and secure situations that they can live in, right?
Yep.
That's unfortunately the case for a lot of sports and jobs in esports. Not like, unless you're a college kid that like can do it on the side and has their position paid for, or you have rich parents or whatever it is, like, you're at a competitive disadvantage working a full-time job trying to make it here, right? And it's unfortunately the case that people in privileged positions will have a competitive advantage against you, right? So that's also why wages need to be competitive. And yes, this is a passion industry, and people will be willing to work for less, but less should never be less than a living wage, basically.
Much, especially when I guess that nears the conversation around like entryway positions. I don't think this is an entryway position in the slightest, but Blizzard's willing to pay it like it is. And that's the problem. I think that's slowly becoming my bigger problem at the end of the day. I think you can have, well, you shouldn't want to have bad actors willing to kneecap talented individuals. But I look at the corporation, the funder, the pay pigs, if you want to call them that, and their decisions. That's the big root to this problem.
Also,
Blizzard's like allowing this to happen.
Like, keep in mind, just putting you into contact with people is not enough to warrant you not making a living wage. Like, for instance, there could be situations where the total benefit that you're receiving makes sense down the line, in that, for instance, let's say they provide gear for you. They provide education for you.
Sure,
classes,
if you provide something
vocal coaches, like lessons with actual professional, whatever it is, right? Sure. There is theoretically a way where whatever you're receiving might be worth like what you're getting, right? Like,
sure.
Make sure like the value you get out of it is sort of equalized, but whatever. But once again, it shouldn't be less than a living wage in order to keep this open. And I will also say, like, this industry, like the profit margins, I mean, nobody's making profit, that for one. But nobody also has ownership that keeps working for you in the final product. And if it actually pops, like, that the worker cannot care for that. They aren't getting anything if your stuff pops off. So they need to make the dime in that very moment. I don't care that your economic bottom line is not there right yet, right? Like, it needs to be a living wage. That's the bare minimum.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, that's highly contextual towards like where you live in.
Sure.
But yeah, it's a, I don't know. I'm not sure. Like that's not a casting specific problem either, right?
Not at all.
So it's really weird to put that into context. And esports does, like, for me professionally as well, like, I definitely take less because I enjoy more what I do than I used to, right? That's a payoff that, like, I'm willing to make, but like, you gotta be able to live, right? Like,
yeah,
that's, I don't know, that's just not negotiable. It really isn't.
Yep.
And live also, like, I feel like I like this season, so to speak, like of negotiations, because a lot of contracts are being signed in terms of
sure, yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
right? I'm not sure if casters would be more well served if this pressure was kept up throughout the entire year. Maybe that energy just needs to never go away until the thing is fixed, and not just when people are in contract negotiations.
Yeah, I do.
I'm not sure if it would make it more effective.
I think that's probably just a wise piece of advice when it comes to a lot of things, right? Like it can't just be when there's a problem. It has to be consistent if there's always a problem, right? If we've identified that there is a problem in general.
Oh no! Now I have the mental image of the Elo Hell CEO just going to the to Blizzard going, we're offering this. You know what I'm? Okay, no. Maybe you don't get the reference. Yes. Someone in chat will have gotten it.
Let's hope. We're gonna hope. I was very, very concerned with how you scooted back and how you're positioning your hands. I'll say that much. Chat, maybe you can see what I said. Pregnant pause.
John, save us.
I don't know if he wants to. I don't know that I'd want to.
See, there you go. 2 people got it. How do you feel? How does it feel to not get it while others got it?
I feel perfect.
Look at Lilac, this beautiful man, like just at 18, just completely getting every reference.
I don't think Fraud actually got it. I think he's making it up. He wants to feel a part of the crowd.
It's true.
The English guy got it now.
I think you're abusing groupthink. I think you're trying to goat people into being a part of something bigger than themselves.
Yeah.
Weaponizing them, Yiska.
Yep. Neither of them got the reference. No,
hey, Mayhem though.
Everyone did.
Positive. Okay, ending on a positive note. Mayhem coming out with the tournament March 20th. Big exciting. Should be good.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. I think we're gonna start with our power rankings next week or the week after.
Oh fuck!
I know, right?
I haven't even started.
Just we're gonna take it 5 at a time. Bottom 5 to the top ones. You only have to do 5 at a time.
That's not how this works.
That's it. Just like fill them out as you go. You're like, oh, and then when you get in the top 5, you're like, okay, these are the 5 teams I have left. What order are they in? That's easy.
I can't wait for Valiant to hurry up and get done. Like, we're coming quickly to a deadline, boys. Like, we're about a month out. We don't have an official announcement yet. What's going on?
Yeah.
Where's the league?
I guess we only have to do 19.
Nothing?
I guess we only have to do 19 power rankings, huh?
It feels like it.
Because you know who be pulling out that bottom, right? You're Valiant.
Oh. All right. Ending with some spice.
Yep. Yep.
Well.
Oh.
Cheers to that, you know?
All right, we're going to get out of here. Chat, thanks for hanging out. We are going to leave you on one note, and we had a bit of a conversation about how we wanted to handle it. So in the past 24 hours, Sinatra's ex-girlfriend, I believe her name is Chloe, came forward with information about their relationship. And I'm trying to be careful with the language here because it's always sensitive, being 3 white dudes on a podcast and talking about these sensitive issues. But we will provide information in the show notes to go learn about the situation yourself. Just know that we believe women, we support women, and we think it's a really brave thing when they come forward and we make the world a better place by putting this treatment of human beings where it belongs, in the trash. And so if people came hoping that we would have more of an opinion on the subject or talk more about it, We would much prefer that you go to the resources that whose opinions and accounts and relationships on the subject really matter. And I apologize in advance if I butchered any of that wording. It's a little bit awkward to try.
Hopefully,
to
the
talk about.
feeling comes across.
But we believe it's incredibly brave and courageous, and for women to do that, and any victim of abuse, and we want to support that the best way we can and celebrate that. And we want esports to be a safe place all across the board. So we love you all.
100%. Well said. Well said, sir.
Anyways,
do fucking better, just please.
Just do better. Yeah. Anyways, big thank you to our patron producers. Sorry. But we do have to get out of here. If you like the show and you want to support, a great way to support the show is go to patreon.com/tacticalcrouch. Leave a sub right here at twitch.tv/KickedTripod, or you can also drop a tip down in the panels below. All great ways to support. We appreciate every minute of your attention that we get, and for the people who want to give more, we really appreciate it. And a big thank you to our patron producers: Refine Bean, Fredino, Battlecrab, Picasso, Lulshin, Rex Zane, Sir Girthalot, Porkchop Sammy, Conscious67, Shara, Nathan, Your Misery, Fabled Steven, Roger B, Chris R34444, Bronzebot, Boohow, and MFG. Yeah, that's our patron producers. We're gonna be doing a game night soon. I kind of want to play games now, but I don't know.
Gotta go to bed, dude. Actually, could play some. You wanna give it an hour of Among Us?
Do a little Among Us? I could do a little Among Us.
I could do exactly 60 minutes.
That sounds good.
All right, we're gonna play a little Among Us after this. So go to Discord. Did you change the Discord?
I did.
Discord.me/tacticalcrouch.
Yep.
Go to discord.me/tacticalcrouch. Hop in. We'd love to spend a little time play and have some fun there. Otherwise, we will see you soon for game night, and soon for our anime group watching night as well.
Extravaganza. Club.
Sweet. All right. We're out of here. Really quick. Shout outs. Where can people find you?
I got a dope interview coming up. Two dope interviews coming up.
Okay.
First one, I asked Alan to answer a couple of questions about the Chinese Overwatch scene.
Shout out to
Alan. And then first part, Tasmo dropping Friday.
Very good. Should be spicy.
Dude, this is like an injection of nostalgia about Apex and that time. The first part
he was there.
Stops after season 1, basically. But
oof.
Wow, we're going down memory lane. He told me he thought Uncia was the best team back then, by the way.
Season 1?
Yeah.
I feel like there's some opinionated voices on Rogue that may differ, but
Joe, what about you? Shout outs for the week. Where can people find you?
Kind of just started doing a new thing with Mushu Beef, looking at some Valorant VODs and reviewing them on stream. So you can find that at Broadcast GG.
Dope as hell, by the way.
Pause and predict. Thank you. This, I think, within the next hour after we play some Among Us, going to be writing some Valorant content, looking at post plants, trying to decipher a certain team, and then looking at the New York Excelsior and their impossible shoes to fill in 2020.
Sweet. As for me, you can find me everywhere at twitch.tv/KickedTripod, youtube.com/KickedTripodYT. I posted a video about the new Elgato Wave panels this past week, and people were really awesome and nice about that video. And I've got a new one coming up about the Razer Kaio Pro webcam, and the AVRMedia PW513. So I'm going to be reviewing those, and that's going to be on my YouTube. Join our Discord, discord.me/Tactical Crouch. Come hang out with us, please. Please do. We're so lonely. Until next time, bye.